Welcome to the buymeacoffee.com/James Poeartistry, the coffee tips page that supports my James Poeartistry creative productions and work. See also jamespoeartistry.online. Hello, perceptive reader. This is James Lynch, and welcome to this James Consultant Moment. I want to share with you the thought how people will say, the truth of the matter will always come out. Okay. Now, with that being said, then the type of persons who I really like to address, because remember, it gets to the point where I want to emphasize to you that just because not everybody listens to you, then you still should continue to speak to the ones who do listen to you, so that they can learn. And in this case, I'm going to emphasize the correct way of even feeling about a matter. I share with persons, you never want to get to the point where you really do see at least the environment that you're dealing with overall, that persons are not favorable towards you at all with the way that they deal with you. In other words, there may be one look on their countenance or the front of their face, but their actions really goes to show that you can't depend on them. And it's really a shame when you recognize that at times, and then the persons who even know you can't depend on them get upset, because I would say the God from heaven really revealed that. Okay. And so sometimes they can even make situations even worse. Yet, this is still the point I want to bring out about, even with the truth, when I say you don't want to really get comfortable that even though the persons that you may deal with a lot cause you to feel that you're going to go into a mode where if innocence is about to really suffer or pay a heavy penalty for someone else's ill treatment in this way or that way, see, that is not acceptable to certain persons, like especially with personalities like mine. And I will go a step further, which I won't explain in details right now, but this is something that could be even discussed, if you will, later on, is I realize about the spirit, the statements that even the true God in heaven has made. And I'm still very much aware of what Jesus has said, and while he was on this earth too. So here it is. You can even read the Hebrew scriptures or the Old Testament and see when God did this and was expressing himself, even anger, if you will, that was shown or what have you. Yet, believe it or not, when Jesus was on this earth, he really did show God's real personality. He showed God, the one who made everything, the Almighty. He truly did show God's personality. And see, in that example with the temple, okay, now Jesus didn't call down fire to destroy anybody at that moment or what have you while he was on this earth. But you can really look into the aspects of why was Jesus so mad? Why did he get upset with that situation? Why did he get upset when even people tried to condemn others, even ones who had done wrong, and just the way that they wanted to treat those ones? Why? So you have to think about that. So Jesus was willing to speak on it. He was even willing to even stop an injustice, not only of the innocent, but even the ones who, according to the hard-headedness or unforgiveness of men or and women, this certainly applies as well too, of that still he wouldn't allow or accept what I would call shirking of their own responsibility to do things in a good and righteous way, in the way that they're supposed to deal with that individual. So from the ones who are innocent, even from the ones who are guilty. And I continue to stand by that because I still come to the conclusion that it really does boil down um, to love. Because if you see like one set of family members or what have you, always getting the harshness or the hurtfulness of the stick, or even the stick of justice, and then you realize there are other family members in other settings that really get the um, doing things just so, in the treatment, in the processes of the listening, of investigations and things of that nature. They always really get that because of who they are in their station in life. Then that's how you know that no, it's not balanced. It's not fair. Um, so what am I saying? I'm saying that the crime still does not give anybody else the right to shirk their responsibility on how they're supposed to deal with another individual in this way or that way. And let me emphasize, see, it's one thing when you have the two persons going head to head, so to speak, with one another. But see, that's a responsibility of the ones who may be even onlooking or what have you, not to jump on the bandwagon and then turn into a mob rule type of thing. That brings upon travesties of injustice. So I want to emphasize that even though the truth always comes out, uh, really, does that do any good for the ones who have already died in the process because of the reason? See, sometimes people say, well, if that person wouldn't have did this or did that, then it wouldn't have affected this individual in this area or that area. And you know what I still say or come to a conclusion on that? I still say sometimes is this point, well, what did you do in the process? Did you do everything you were supposed to do in order to resolve the matter in a better way? And so if the persons didn't do it, then that's when I say again, whether they want to claim to or not, maybe I'll even give them indirectly as well, but sometimes it's still directly. Sometimes directly or by omission or by just shirking your responsibility. Those type of acts, when you're in a position of responsibility or position of trust, does factor into, you see, how good a situation can turn out or just how horribly gone wrong a situation turns out. That's why there are certain positions, responsibilities, and institutions that I say today never have no business just listening and running in a way of very much harm to, you see, affect somebody in an adverse way. If they didn't have, like I used to say the expression, their day in court, not the mob, not the jury day in court, but literally that person being able to even, yes, in some cases, where in some lands, they say all cases, to literally not allow a person to throw a charge at them and then uh, actually, you see, cannot really address it in the correct way, not address it in the formal way. Indirectness, as I told you before, throwing hints and all that other type of stuff, that doesn't stand as concrete evidence or proof or anything that I would say, again, a judge would really want to stand on and make their decisions on. Even emotional upheavals or things of that nature. Because you know what? you do have people who just wake up on the wrong side of the bed some mornings. See, I'm just talking about even interactions with neighbors or what have you. And the way that the person they interacted with may have been pretty uh, not in the best interactions that day or what have you, but it doesn't mean that either one of them are really still just bad individuals. It's just that they just had a bad day, or their personalities just, just don't get along, or they don't agree with this or that. But see, what I'm saying is, through those interactions, it still doesn't mean then uh, for the rest of this person's life, this individual is just a bad person. This individual just can't do anything at all. You see, uh, that this person should be ostracized not only from the community, but even given one of those hidden uh, type of labels, if you will that everybody knows about except for that person, that they are just not welcome or unemployable in this area or that area, and that they don't even deserve the right to be able to use, uh, just basic resources without having to still fight with other individuals in the process to use them. Take care of yourself, perceptive reader.